Hey everyone, it's Lajana. Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am making a coffee inspired card for the semi-annual Coffee Lovers blog hop. This is a huge blog hop with many participants, as well as many sponsors and prizes. I'll link below the blog post with more details on how you can participate in the blog hop. So for my card, I am using La-La Land Crafts Mollie with Coffee stamp set, and I'm stamping her with Memento Tuxedo Black ink onto Nina Solar White cardstock. And I'm going to be using my Copic markers to color in the image. So as I color, I'm not an expert. I'm still in the learning phase, but I've been practicing, and I feel I have been taking some classes, and I feel like I do okay. I'll have all of the colors that I used for this image. I'll have it linked down below, and I will also list them on the screen just to the left. So I typically color dark to light. Most of the time I use 2 to 3 different shades to get that depth. However, skin, I guess I just learned to color with like 5 markers, and so that's what I know, and that's kind of what I'm comfortable doing. It looks like a lot, and it looks like a lot of work, but I've just been practicing this way, and it just seems to come naturally. In the interest of keeping this video to somewhat normal watching time, I've colored in the skin, or the face, the skin, face, but I skipped out the coloring of the neck and the arms and the legs, and it's basically done the same way. I put, with my darkest, I put the shadow where I think it needs to go, and then I just blend out every so little bit with the less saturated marker until I get a really smooth blend. For coloring her hair, I still struggle with hair, so I feel like I could still improve on that, but I think it's alright. So I did leave that in the video. And for whatever reason, I noticed that I keep reaching for the same color combinations for the hair, and I think it's because I have a little girl with brown hair like that, and so somehow I just found that color combo and I just keep using it because it just seems like my little girl. And I do color up most of the hair, and I cut out just a little bit because it's basically colored in the same way. And I also have found that I do typically have to go over the hair twice to get a smooth transition from one shade to the next. And I don't know if that's just due to not being comfortable with that yet, or still learning, or that's just how I'm going to do it. I'm not sure. So then I go ahead and I color up her little dress or her skirt and her little shirt, and I use some greens because the pattern paper I plan on using has some greens in it, and I kind of want to matchy. So I'm not sure what I was thinking when I started putting in my shadow with the cool gray marker. The thought behind it was I could just go over it with a lighter shade and it would look like a shadow. I go over it with the darker because it just looked, it didn't look right. It didn't blend well. So I ended up just going over it with the darker shade of green. And I should have really chosen my color combo a little bit more thoughtfully, because once I color the shirt green and I color her skirt green, it looks so 80s, like that neon 80s era that spilled over into the 90s. I go back and I put some white polka dots in hopes of toning it down a little bit, but there was just no help in that one. But I was not about to color this entire image again, so neon green it is. And just so everybody knows, I am from that era. I remember wearing stuff like this in the 80s and the early 90s. It was quite popular. And then I go ahead and color up her little boots. And I use a little bit tip to tip technique just to have a little more seamless blend, because the two shades that I'm using are quite far apart, and I was just seeing some harsh lines, so that's one way to alleviate that. And of course, the coffee cup, for whatever reason, has to match the outfit, so It was all pink, just like her little shirt and boots. And then I just kind of used some cool grays to just shade out the cup a little bit. I really wanted the cup to be predominantly white, and her socks as well. So once the coloring was done, I started working on the rest of the card. The sentiment I'm using is from that same stamp set, and it just says, "But first coffee." And when I cut it, I guess I just cut it a little bit the wrong way, because there was a piece of it that kind of stuck out, so I had to refix that and restamp that. So the card is pretty simple to put together. I die cut from 2 different paper pads. I cut out the pattern paper. They were both cut with the largest lawn fawn stitched rectangle die, and then the flower paper was also cut with it's the stitched scallop border edge from MFT. And here is my attempt at trying to tone down that neon green shirt. So now I've glued down all of the pattern paper, and the image of the little girl. I've popped her up on some foam tape. I'm just adding a little bit of shading to the bottom so she's grounded and not floating in air. And I go ahead and arrange the sentiment. I pop that up on a little piece of fun foam. And then my children walk by my camera and bump it, and the shaking happens. And then I just go ahead and arrange all of the pieces, and I put them on top of the card. And that basically completes that card. So if you're interested in participating in the blog hop, it's open to anyone. Check out the link below for all of the details. If you've found this tutorial helpful in any way, please be sure to give it a thumbs up or leave me a comment, and consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.